Like it or not, email is used for a lot of important things on the internet. Authentication, login. That's why a lot of companies and organizations really care about getting your email address right. In fact, in many forms, they don't just ask for it once, they ask for it twice. This is primarily done to reduce what we know as hard bounces. That is, an average form will have about 15% of emails sent back to it because they're incorrect, unknown. So let's look at some ways we can actually collect valid email addresses and reduce these hard bounces that we don't want. First thing we'll do with this simple form is actually get rid of this inline help text. Now, why would we do that? Looking at a study Caroline Jarrett did of about 17,000 submissions on a simple form. This form had a question of job title, and they provided a little bit of help text that said MySequence. What percent of these form submissions do you think actually ended up with a job title of MySequence? Turned out 99% of them. That means only 1% actually interpreted that help text as help. The rest actually thought it was an answer. And that's the problem with inline help text. When quickly making your way through a form, it's easy to see something inside a box as done rather than help or tip. So if that inline help text gone, how can we actually get to valid email addresses? Let's say I enter luke@gmail.com. Right there, a little bit of inline validation pops up asking me if I actually meant Gmail, very popular email provider. If I tap gmail.com, we're actually going to correct that email address right away. Tested out in the wild, this technique actually reduces those hard bounces by 50%. It's a great step in the right direction. There's a couple other techniques we can use as well. Once again, I'll enter luke@gmail.com, and in this case, I'll actually just hit continue. Now I get interrupted by a little dialog that says, does this look right? If not, I can change it right then and there. If it looks good, I'll make my way forward. This is sort of a verification step, making sure that input I put in there looks right and will actually result in a valid email address. But there's one problem with that approach. That is, once I make my way to that dialog, I actually have to go back to an edit step. Instead, why not allow me to change things right then and there? Let's show the email address, and if it looks good, just tap once, otherwise change it in line. This follows a principle from Alan Cooper. Where there's output, there should be input. That is, let me directly make the change I need without forcing me to go off to another form. There's also a few more things we can do to make valid inputs easier. That is, rather than specifying generic input types, we can suggest this field captures an email address. We can turn auto-capitalize off. We can turn autocorrect off. Little things like type equals email will actually change this virtual keyboard into one directly associated with email addresses. Note the presence of an @ and a dot that makes email address input much easier and faster. As you can see, there's a lot of things we can do to reduce invalid email entry. We can make use of inline validation. We can allow people to verify inputs that are important to us after they've entered that information. And we can make use of input types and attributes to make that process of collecting the email easier to begin with.